good cheer, because for every single one of you out there struggling with decreased hair density, thickness, fullness, increased shedding, and an overall dissatisfaction with the way your hair looks, there's going to be at least 10 or 20 brands circling you like a shark, teeth out, claiming they've got the shampoo, the conditioner, the serum that is going to solve all of your hair woes, that it's clinically backed, research backed, back the bus up. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing for you guys a shampoo, conditioner, and scalp serum promising fuller, thicker appearing hair. But importantly, we're going to take a step back and look at some of the ingredients, not just in this product, but ingredients that come up a lot in these different serums and shampoos and conditioners marketed for people looking to improve thickness, density, fullness, and get their hair growth journey on the right track to improved hair growth. When it comes to hair loss, there are many different types of hair loss out there. I will say that over and over and over again, because until you know the type of hair loss you actually have, you could waste a lot of time pursuing hair interventions that are just not made for the hair loss that you have. One of the most common types of hair loss that affects both men and women, however, is called androgenetic alopecia, otherwise known as pattern hair loss. One of the underlying root causes behind pattern hair loss is miniaturization of the hair follicles. Essentially, the androgen hormone, hence the androgenetic naming, testosterone gets converted to a more potent form by the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. That more potent form is called dihydrotestosterone. It influences the hair follicle to shrink down to a little baby vellus hair. And the end result is you have a decrease in density, thickness. Men might see a receding hairline, and women a widening of the central part. If you have spent any time looking at shampoos and conditioners for improvement of hair thickness, fullness, or maybe you have even considered trying a scalp serum, there's a good chance you have come across the ingredients, because there's two of them, under the umbrella name of Capixyl. These two ingredients are acetyl tetrapeptide 3 and red clover extract. Acetyl tetrapeptide 3 is a peptide that allegedly is going to improve type 3 collagen in the scalp, ultimately improving the anchoring of the hair in your head. Red clover extract has high amounts of flavonoids, especially one called biotin A. Biotin A is anti-inflammatory. It's an antioxidant, so it can help reduce the burden of oxidative stress at the level of the follicle, which ultimately shifts things in favor of the miniaturization process. Plus, biotin is an inhibitor of that annoying 5-alpha reductase enzyme that converts testosterone to the follicle shrinking dihydrotestosterone. It's also thought to reduce microinflammation, another driving factor at the level of the follicle for miniaturization. That's all well and good, but does it actually do anything, whether it be shampooing it into the scalp or putting it on there with a scalp serum? As with any peptide, botanic extract ingredient in a cosmetic preparation, the research is not going to be the kind of thing out here curing cancer. Not that level. We don't have a ton of research on these two ingredients together for hair, period. There is a small study comparing the two ingredients in combination to 3% minoxidil. Minoxidil is an FDA-approved treatment for androgenetic alopecia. 3% is not like the most robust percentage, but can be effective. They looked at people outwards of 24 weeks, which is a decent amount of time to be using any topical for hair loss to see some results. Importantly, they looked at both men and women. And at the end of the study, the participants getting the peptide plus red clover had comparable results to people using 3% minoxidil in terms of improvements in hair count, hair mass index, and just patient overall satisfaction. It's not a huge study, and there are several limitations, but importantly, the red clover peptide combo was really well tolerated, whereas one individual in the minoxidil group got some eczema, which is a common side effect. To get basically a dermatitis related to topical minoxidil. Not uncommon. All right, but then you also have rosemary leaf extract. Now, rosemary oil got a lot of hype on social media because people came across a study that compared rosemary oil to 2% minoxidil. 2% minoxidil is not like really effective, but the study was suggesting that it was as effective as 2% minoxidil. As effective as something that's not very effective. All right, let's not get too excited there. Nonetheless, the rosemary oil thing took off. So most brands are going to, these days, I've noticed, include rosemary leaf extract. Now, rosemary leaf extract does have a variety of compounds that at any rate are probably anti-inflammatory and, may help, provided, of course, you're not allergic to rosemary, and in which case, it would be off the table. Carnosic acid, carnosol, and rosmarinic acid, for example, these have antioxidant properties, they're anti-inflammatory, and it's thought that they might help in improving microcirculation, which ultimately is going to allow for better delivery of growth factors to that follicle to get it in the growing phase. Then you have caffeine. Now, those of you into hair loss type shampoos, maybe you even watched my video on hair loss shampoo ingredients that can work. And one of those, which I brought up several times, is caffeine. Now, again, not out here curing cancer with the kind of trials that were conducted showing benefit of topical caffeine for hair growth, but topical caffeine shows a lot of promise. Not only does it appear as though it can efficiently localize into the follicle, which is a huge thing to overcome in order to have any ingredient do anything for you, but it's an antioxidant, great. It's anti-inflammatory, wonderful. It appears as though it also inhibits that pesky enzyme 5-alpha reductase, great, and it inhibits another enzyme, phosphodiesterase, which is responsible for the breakdown of something called cyclic AMP. This allows for better overall cyclic AMP levels to be available for hair cells, ultimately improving hair cell metabolism so they can get to growing hair. And as I pointed out in my hair loss ingredients that work, there is some promising research on topical caffeine in actual humans, not just mouse models, cells in a dish, but actual clinical studies on human subjects showing benefit for hair growth. Many scalp serums, shampoos, etc. aimed at improving hair thickness, density, regrowth are going to contain antioxidants. Green tea polyphenols, resveratrol. My favorite topical antioxidant, niacinamide, a B vitamin that is also good for the moisture barrier, and long term that might also help with reducing scalp irritation, an added bonus. Then you could throw in some other peptides if you were so motivated. Many scalp serums contain growth factor peptides, which, allegedly, if you put them on your scalp, it might help get the follicle to do what it needs to do by virtue of the presence of those growth factors. And on paper, that sounds really cool. Maybe you could even get a mouse and smear some growth factor on it and get it to grow hair. Or maybe you could get some hair follicle cells and put them in a dish and dump a bunch of peptide on it and show them dividing a lot more. And then you'd be like, oh, cool, let's put this in a scalp serum and claim that it's going to boost hair growth. Connecting the dots to get to reality, oftentimes you will find that the lines do not connect. For example, different fibroblast growth factors, insulin-like growth factor 1, and vascular endothelial growth factor, while theoretically could be beneficial, whether or not they actually get down into the follicle, bind where they need to, get where they need to, truly have an effect on cells is seemingly impossible. All right, those of you who watch my vlogs, however, you've heard me recently gushing about how I have been trying a shampoo and conditioner that a brand I really love in terms of the realm of skincare sent me, and I was really pleased with the results that I have been getting with this particular shampoo and conditioner, and you're all like, please share what the shampoo and conditioner are. These come from the brand Maelove, which those of you who have been here and watched my skincare content over the years, I love Maelove's discoloration serum. It's excellent. I used it consistently for over a year, got really great results. So check out my review on that if you're so curious. But when they reached out and were like, we've got hair care now, we'd love to send it to you to try out, I was like, can you guys do hair care? Because in my experience, sometimes brands that are primarily skincare, when they try and get into hair care, it is also brands that want to get into not just shampoo and conditioner for the purposes of cleansing, shampoo, conditioner, and scalp serums aimed at having some sort of meaningful effect in terms of fullness, decrease in shedding. It's like, oh boy. But Maelove, they do have effective serum formulas for the skin, so I was open to trying them out. This is the Full Follicle Shampoo, the Full Follicle Conditioner, and the Full Follicle Advanced Scalp Serum. Now, I've used used all 3 of these products pretty much nightly. Now, the backstory behind me stepping into using these, if you have been watching my vlogs, you know, I was previously trying out a shampoo that wreaked havoc on my hair. It left it very dull, dry, brittle, unmanageable. This shampoo is by the brand Wella. I complained about it to you guys. It was an awful shampoo for me. So I was really down and out because prior to the Wella shampoos, I was sailing along with great, smooth, manageable hair in the wake of using the CeraVe hydrating shampoos and conditioners and the Suave Bond Repair. I mean, my hair was like super on point, if I do say so myself. So I was really kind of bummed when using those Wella products that left my hair looking like Brillo pad level dullness. Well, after using the shampoo, the conditioner, and the scalp serum just one time, it was as if my hair transformed overnight. Soft, smooth, manageable, glossy, bouncy. My scalp felt great. Not that it was bad before, but in other words, things were really looking good with the shampoo, the conditioner, and the scalp serum. So the shampoo has Capixyl, that's the peptide, and the red clover. It has caffeine. It has biotin. Now, biotin often makes its way in these types of products because people think biotin grows hair. It doesn't unless you happen to be biotin deficient, in which case taking biotin is necessary and it will improve your hair, but putting it on the scalp is even more of a stretch. Maybe it's moisturizing, but don't expect it to grow hair. It has the rosemary leaf extract. It's got 5 different growth factors, panthenol, which is moisturizing for the scalp, eucalyptus, and resveratrol. The conditioner has no caffeine, no Capixyl, which is the peptide, plus clover leaf. It does have some butters whose names are challenging to pronounce. It also has the rosemary extract and resveratrol. The shampoo lathers nicely and the conditioner works well. They're not fragrance free, so if you're allergic to fragrance, that's off the table. They have a citrus aroma. The scalp serum also has caffeine like the shampoo. It has the Capixyl combo, peptide plus red clover, rosemary, ginseng, eucalyptus, panthenol, and again, biotin. So antioxidants, and it's got the growth factors. So all of those kinds of things which may or may not help with hair growth. The shampoo and the conditioner have both just left my hair perfect how I like it, manageable, soft, smooth, all of those things. The full follicle serum, I was a little like, oh gosh, do I really want to try this out? Because a lot of times scalp serums, they leave this weird residue on the hair. Maybe not the first couple of times you use it, but as you're using it on a daily basis, it starts to really affect the manageability of your hair and make your hair look greasy. Not the case here whatsoever. You use a full dropper's worth to the scalp. I actually just drop it straight down my middle part, and then the serum nicely glides down the sides of my scalp and the back of my scalp, and then I massage it in, making sure to get it up here in the frontal area as well. Now, a word about the scalp serum. It does have alcohol in it, which can be drying. The alcohol can be drying. I have not experienced any scalp dryness, irritation, itch whatsoever, and I really like the fact that my hair does not look like I used any kind of product on it the next day. There's no residue whatsoever. My scalp doesn't get some kind of residue flakiness at all. It's been great. No problems. And like I said, almost immediately overnight, the look, the feel, the texture of my hair transformed away from that horrible Brillo pad situation with the other shampoo to this. Remember, these were gifted to me. I did not buy them. So let's talk about the price because they're not cheap. The shampoo is $34.95 for 8 ounces. The conditioner is a little bit more at $36.95 for 8 ounces. The scalp serum is $49.95, close to $50 for the scalp serum, which should last you 2 to 3 months. And if you get the shampoo, the conditioner, plus the serum in a bundle, it's $121.85. Probably going to last you 2-3 months, depending on how frequently you shampoo, which for me is every day, how frequently you condition, for me every day, and of course you'd want to be using the scalp serum every single day. I believe my hair transformed overnight using these because I stopped using a horrible shampoo and switched to a good shampoo and conditioner. I think this is a good shampoo and conditioner. And keep in mind, I didn't have any baseline hair loss or excessive hair shedding going into starting these products, and even if I had, had, the 3.5-ish weeks I have been using these is simply not enough time to turn the corner around to see results in terms of hair growth improvement, thickness improvement. It will take time, 3 months at least. My positive experience with it does not necessarily mean that the ingredients we talked about, the Capixyl Mambo Combo, the caffeine, while those have some research behind them, especially the caffeine, it doesn't necessarily mean that this shampoo and conditioner and scalp serum is going to deliver those ingredients in any meaningful way to your scalp to truly transform any underlying hair loss issues that you might have or issues with thickness and density. Really what happened with me is I was using a crummy shampoo for several weeks that wreaked havoc on my hair, and I stopped using that shampoo and switched to a good shampoo and conditioner. I don't know if the scalp serum is doing anything other than allowing me to have a pleasant experience at night, because I have to say I've rather enjoyed the soothing sensation of that serum on my scalp. I think it's very pleasant, and I will remind you guys that simply the act of scalp massage can actually be beneficial in the long run for your hair growth journey by encouraging scalp blood flow to bring in those growth factors to nourish the follicle. Check out my video on scalp massage. I break it down there. That is a free way to help your hair out. So in summary, we have another shampoo, conditioner, scalp serum combo from a brand with similar ingredients to other shampoos, conditioners, and serums that also claim to improve hair thickness and density and decrease shedding. But remember, these are cosmetics. So is this one better than someone else's? Who knows? Who knows? Because we're never going to get randomized, controlled, blinded studies comparing branded cosmetic products to one another. It's just not going to work out. Best case scenario, we get a comparison to minoxidil, but not everyone responds to minoxidil, and it can take quite a bit of time to work. And the lower percentages, especially in men, simply are not effective. Men need the 5%, and a lot of women need the 5%. So 2, 3, yeah, those can work, namely for women, but they don't always. Here's another last concluding point. The results that I have gotten with the shampoo, conditioner, and to whatever extent the serum may or may not be doing anything other than offering an enjoyable experience for me at the end of the day to massage that stuff on my head. I will also point out that the shampoos I was using before I got myself into the Wella waters of disaster also were really beneficial for my hair texture, feel, manageability, made my hair very soft, smooth, and those were the CeraVe hydrating shampoos and conditioners, as well as the Suave Bond Repair line, which much less expensive than these. So keeping in mind the fact that these ingredients are not robustly proven to help hair growth, thickness, density, decrease shedding, address the underlying causes behind androgenetic alopecia, they do have some evidence behind them. If you're someone who wants to try some of these ingredients, especially caffeine, then I think these would be reasonable options. You know, was it a year ago already at this point? I put out a video on 5 shampoos with ingredients that are evidence-based for hair, and one of them was caffeine, and I mentioned the alopecia shampoo because that is a shampoo that has been tested in a clinical study. It's a caffeine shampoo. If you're someone who watched that video, you bought that shampoo, and you didn't get along with the shampoo for whatever reason, maybe it didn't work for your hair type, but you're still interested in pursuing caffeine, you might try this. You might try this line. The products are good. All right, y'all, let me know in the comments, did you even know Maelove had shampoo, conditioner, and scalp serum? Because it's kind of hard to find on their website, honestly. I don't know if they are updating their website as we speak. I hope this video was informative, enjoyable to watch, and that you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.